Welcome, dear listener, to Higher Self Wellness with Alec Hurley. I hope you're doing well, and thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so, I'd really appreciate it if you could just take a moment and leave a review, an honest review. You can also share this in social media with a friend. You can take a screenshot, share it in your story. You can do any of many things to help continue the growth of this and just to help other people find this who might find it valuable. Because what I'm really wishing to do here is to offer really simple tools, strategies, and simple teachings, really, to help people find more balance in their life, more balance in their mind, in their body, and to cultivate more peace in our inner world. And we do this through many different things. We do this through meditation practices, through reorienting ourselves to nature, to feeding ourselves well with really good food, and also having fun and moving our body. So share it with somebody if you haven't done so yet. I'd really appreciate that. If you haven't been over to the website recently, you can check it out. There are a couple of ebooks you can download for free. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can even start Your Day Right video series, where over the course of a week, I'll send you a video each day to where you can integrate a new practice into your mind and your body first thing in the morning, so you can set the tone for your day and move through your day with purpose. Totally free. You can sign up and download all that stuff on the website. You can also connect with me for a wellness workshop, personal workshop. We dive deep one-on-one, about 45 minutes of exploration into what's that next phase that you're moving into looking like, and how can we begin to do that with ease, with flow, and in a sustainable way. So speaking of learning, it's learning is such a powerful thing for us to be doing, and learning intellectually for sure, right? Because we can take that knowledge and enhance our lives in many different ways, but also the learning of what's really going on inside. It's I feel this is going to be kind of a little short rant kind of monologue thing. I just woke up this morning and started thinking about this and how we aren't taught in many different ways through our childhood, at least over here in the West, and really how to explore our inner world, that to where we can begin to make sense of what's going on, and then to redirect the workings of our inner world to create more harmony and more coherence, so we can become better communicators and so on. And learning is a great thing, right? Attaining knowledge is great because we can apply that to enhance our lives in many different areas. But we need a balance of taking in information and integrating that information. And if we really want to stay in balance with these new changes that what this learning is really bringing about, then we need time to apply that, to reflect on that, to see what's working, to see what part of it is not working. And until then, that knowledge never really turns into wisdom, right? Because wisdom comes from the alchemy of learning new things and applying it to your life, and then seeing the deeper meanings behind it. And I know that's kind of a philosophical thing about how we as humans were always trying to find meaning in everything. But when we really take the time to learn and integrate after the application of the new things, we can really open up, I like to call them portals of creativity. And this inspires us in many different ways because we can enhance our life. And what's more inspiring than feeling better and then helping somebody else feel better, and watching somebody else really grow and learn after the application of some like a lesson or a teaching or an understanding. And so I'm kind of relating this to the practice of one of the things in the yogic philosophy, and this is one of the niyamas, and it's the practice of svadhyaya, and this is like the self-study. And it's like, okay, so in the yogic perspective, it's like we come onto our mat and we move our body, and then we move through our meditation practices, and over time we can see how are we orienting ourselves to our mat, to our practice, to our meditation, and are we really taking the time to ground what we're noticing and like observe it. So it's like, okay, I go and do this new thing. Maybe it is, I'm reading a book. Right now I'm reading this book called Mind to Matter. It's by Dr. Dawson Church. I just had him on the show last week, and we're going to have part 2 of that next week. But there's so much good information in there. And if I'm not going to take the time to practice what I've been reading, then it just stays up in the mind. It doesn't get distributed throughout the entire body, which, like, our consciousness is not really local to one part of the body. It's not local just to the mind. It's rather throughout, which is why when we really apply this stuff, it's able to become integrated into these deeper parts and be accessed as a source of wisdom. But back to the mat, like, when we really study our movements and how we're moving on the mat, how we are combining our movement with our breath, we can recognize our habits that are happening off of the mat, right? Like we can notice our tendencies of how we move through time and space. We can notice our tendencies of our default breathing patterns. And we don't really know this unless we take the time to really slow down, move in an intentional way, and breathe in an intentional way to see where these little blockages are in whatever stage of the movement that you're in. Which I found to be really cool, because like I had knee pain, I had shoulder pain, I had inflammation in a lot of my joints, didn't even really know it because I never took the time to like question and be like, oh wow, like why don't I have range of motion here, and why does this hurt when I do that? Like this is just a normal movement that my body should be able to do, and this doesn't feel right. So the practice on the mat, again, is just like a good way to begin to learn like how we are moving through life. Are we moving through life kind of choppy and sporadically? And if so, like that's cool. It's just a part of noticing and acknowledging first, but then how can I begin to move a little more fluidly and a little bit more in balance? And that comes from noticing. It comes from learning and watching and observing, again, on our mat of how we're moving. And yeah. So this book has been really cool for me because there's a lot of really simple practices. And what I really want to do is tie this idea of learning and trying new things to inspire creativity to meditation, because meditation is kind of that new edge for me of really honing in and really refining the workings of my mind. Because when I have done this, and I do it pretty consistently, like I just notice how my mind is more clear, my thoughts are more clear, and things just happen a little bit easier. So if we're looking at inspiring creativity, and if we're looking at to try new things to really create balance and integrate new things, then meditation can become a really great tool, especially after learning, after studying. Meditation can become a really good tool to take some time out to let that information that we just took in to really integrate and to reflect on that information, and then later on apply it into specific areas of our life. And of course, there's many different types of meditation, right? We can just sit and observe the breath. We can focus on a mantra or a particular point of focus. But this one that I've been practicing recently, and I started bringing into the meditation classes that I teach every Tuesday and Thursday morning, is what Dr. Church mentioned, and he explains them in his book. But it's funny, like he mentioned this style of meditation, and I was already practicing many elements of it, except for like the tapping portion of it, which I feel like the tapping portion is great because it does help to move energy a little bit more and to open ourselves up to deeper states of release and then openness to learn more about ourselves. But essentially, it's this practice of really expanding our heart and really opening up the coherence and bringing more effective communication between our heart and our higher self. And we didn't get into that last episode of really how to do this meditation, so that's what I want to take a few minutes here to do. And this is going to be quick. I didn't realize what time it was. I got a meeting in 12 minutes. So basically, what you really want to do for this meditation is just find a comfortable position. And I'm actually going to put a link to all these instructions in here. And I'm not going to go through the emotional freedom technique or the tapping. That's definitely not my area of expertise. But if you want to learn more about that, it's right here in this link. It's at eftuniverse.com/tutorial/easy meditation in 7 steps. Learn eco meditation with EFT. I know that's a long link, but the link will be in the notes. Basically, how I've been practicing this is I assume a comfortable seated position and just let the tongue rest loosely in the mouth. And then noticing your body for a brief moment, just feeling physical sensation inside your body as well as outside your body. And then just picturing a big empty space in between your eyebrows. So like we're focusing attention right there. And then it just begins with slow breathing. So 6 seconds on the inhale and the exhale. And then just counting silently as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And as you develop a rhythm with this, just again, bringing your attention to the space in between the brows, keeping the body relaxed. And then the next part of this is what I have been doing for some time now without even noticing like there was part of this, is just breathing in and out of the space of your heart. And here it says, imagine breathing in and out through your heart while maintaining this breath cycle. And then to imagine a beam of love pouring out through your heart toward a person or a place that you love. And what I was really liking to do here was like with the inhale, feel yourself receiving that, right? Receiving that beam of love. And then with the exhale, imagining that your heart is expanding that in every direction out and away from you. And doing this in a group has been really potent the past week and a half, because like these fields are magnified with all of us. And we can learn how to be comfortable with being in somebody else's energy field. We can learn how to be comfortable with just like sharing our good energy, sharing that love that comes from within. And a great opportunity to learn about like the tendencies of the mind. And if like, oh, this is weird, like just noticing the thoughts about what's coming up of like, okay, maybe my mind is questioning all of this stuff and is it really going to work? But yes, it's definitely going to work because of what you're doing, the intention behind it. And also this helps to bring more coherent communication between your mind, your heart, and your higher self, which is going to help out in the long term. And I would be surprised if, like, trying this, which I invite you to do, if you didn't notice something right away. So I'd be surprised if after doing this for 3 or 4 minutes, you didn't notice something right away. And one other element that I'm going to add into this practice is after doing that breathing exercise, so doing so for about, you can anywhere between 3 to 10 minutes, just letting go completely and surrendering all anything, just letting yourself be and rest in that space to just feel and notice what's going on and to really just let go as much as possible. For me, that's when insights begin to come in. And I believe it's because it's like really opening up our ability to then communicate with spirit, to communicate with our higher self. We are slowing down the breath, we're calming down the body, we're opening up space to then receive and listen. And so learning a new meditation practice like this can inspire deeper states of creativity, because we are getting out of the head and getting more into the body and more into the subtle. And when that starts to come through, well, we open ourselves up. We can sense and feel and notice like little ideas as they come through, little insights as they come through. And so whatever it is that you're learning these days, whatever it is that you're reading, I really invite you to stay in balance with this. It really just takes time to take a step back and integrate. So even with these meditations, taking your time afterwards to really let it integrate and notice and write down your insights, write down things that came up. If you're reading, apply the stuff that you're reading in any way that makes sense. If you're learning anything at all, like if you're learning a new language, you have to begin to speak it. You have to apply it before you begin to understand it and really learn it to that deeper level. So I invite you to take the new learnings to these deeper depths and going beyond the intellect of just reading, learning, and doing, and really take it to that depth of like integration. So it then becomes a source of wisdom. And same thing with your meditation. Give time, give space to integrate what comes through, to integrate the silence, integrate the clarity, the peace, the calm, and use that as a reservoir of like a reserve, like a resolve of a place you can go back to. So just know that it helps also to embrace your own uniqueness and allowing yourself to be different from others. Sharing, I believe, is a really powerful way to help integrate things, and we're all going to have different experiences within our meditation, as well as we can all learn the same lesson, but in many different ways. So if we're reading one book, one person might have a lesson that's completely unique than somebody else. And so if we allow everybody to be different from each other, we can really embrace our own uniqueness and use that as a strength, because we all have our own unique gifts that we're bringing into this world, our own unique teachings, our own unique style, our own unique perspective and vision and creations. And if we really do embrace that, then we can support each other. We can be there for each other and acknowledge and honor each other. So that's my rant today on learning, creativity, and meditation. And then also just, again, that practice of self-study. How do we learn about ourselves? Through noticing, through observing. So if this has been helpful for you, I really ask that you share it with a friend, share it in social media, be like, hey, this really resonated. Or you can even email me, let me know, alec@higherself.yoga. And if you didn't like it, you can let me know. I'm all ears. Just let me know what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying, and we'll take it from there. Either way, I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are in time and space, and whenever you're listening to this. And be sure to check out next week's episode with Dr. Dawson Church, where we go a little deeper into emotions and how they create our reality. So, toodaloo. Much love to you. I hope you have a beautiful day. Take care.